titled More Attributes of Polygons. If you could write down that we're going to do pages 5 through 9 so you know where to start and stop. We're going to read page 6 first. So go ahead and turn over to page 6 for a second. And we're going to look at the math notes box down at the bottom. Down at the bottom of page 6, we're looking at some vocabulary words for your naming parts of geometric figures. So I'm going to read through it. I want you to highlight and look at the figures over here on the right as I describe them. A point is a name. A point is named using a single capital letter. A line, which extends infinitely in two directions, is named using any 2 points on the line. For example, the line at right can be named line DE, line ED, or line EJ, among other ways. So over here it can go this direction or this direction. It doesn't matter the order that you start in, okay? Order will matter on something else later, all right? A line segment is the portion of a line between 2 points called endpoints in the diagram above. The line segment between points E and J is referred to as line segment EJ or line segment JE. The point on a polygon where 2 line segments meet to form a corner is called a vertex. The plural of the word vertex is vertices. Polygons are named by their vertices. For example, the vertices of triangle ABC on this triangle over here are the points A, B, and C. So each of those 3 points is a vertex, and that triangle has 3 vertices. Okay. The angle of vertex B is written as angle B. It's this little symbol in front of the B that kind of looks like a less than symbol, but it's resting flat, right? And the measure of angle B is written as M angle B, and you would read it, the measure of angle B. So this one you just say angle B, and this one you say the measure of angle B. The length of side BC is written using the notation BC. So in the triangle ABC above, you're going to have the measure of angle B is 80 degrees. It's really small, and I don't know if it came off on your copy in duplicating, but there's a little 80 degrees in there. If you can't read it real well, just go over it with your pencil. And BC is equal to 2 centimeters. So there should be a little 2 centimeters right there. Hopefully you can read it. A ray is a part of a line that starts at one point and extends infinitely in only one direction. A ray is named by its endpoint, followed by one other point on the ray in the diagram at right, ray GF going this way, and ray GH going that way, and ray GI are rays. For lines and segments, the order of the letters in the name do not matter, but when naming rays, the endpoint must come first. Notice that G was the first one for all 3 of them, okay? You can't call that ray FG. That would be incorrect, right? An angle is formed by 2 rays joining at their endpoints. The measure of an angle represents the number of degrees of rotation from one ray to the other about their common endpoint, known as the vertex. In the diagram above, there are several angles with vertex G. When this happens, the angle is named with 3 letters, and the vertex must be the second letter in the name. For example, the angle measuring 10 degrees, really small right there, it says 10 degrees. You guys, can you see it on your copy, or is it too small? You can see it okay? Good. All right. You can name it angle HGI, or you can name it angle IGH. That vertex G has to be the middle letter every time. You couldn't put the G at the beginning or the end because it's the vertex. Okay? Any questions on the math notes box? All right, for the two questions above, number 11 and 12, you're going to write skip and skip. Do that right now. And then turn back to page 5. On page 5, the first thing you're going to do is talk in your group about collaborative learning expectations. So it says working with other students allows you to develop new ways of thinking about mathematics, helps you to learn, communicate about math, and helps you understand ideas better by having to explain your thinking to others. The following expectations will help you get the most out of working together. So if you have a highlighter, when you get in your teams, there are 7 bullet points. 7 bullet points. You're each going to take a turn reading, and as you read, you're going to highlight the important words. I'm going to tell you what I think is the most important word in the first one. Respect. Okay? You're going to go through the rest, and you're going to highlight the words that you think as a group are important as well. Okay? But respect is probably the best one in the first bullet point. Did everybody agree? Okay. All right. Down at the bottom, problem number 10, you're going to write skip. And then turn over to page 7. Page 7 is going to give us directions for how they want us to complete pages 8 and 9. So quick glance over to page 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is a bunch of polygon figures for us, okay? In the lower left-hand corner on page 8, they've done one for you, the rectangle, right? So they've written down the definition, and they've marked some important marks on the figure of the rectangle. Does anybody know what this little box in the corner means? Right angle, which is 90 degrees, okay? On this side right here, here's this little mark. Does anybody know what that little mark means? Yes. Same, okay, same. In math, we call that equal, or in geometry, we even have a more specific name that starts with a C. Does anybody know that one? Congruent, okay? So this is called a tick mark. The single tick mark here and the single tick mark here shows that those two sides are congruent. Everybody learned that before? Awesome, okay? The little mark below it has another meaning. Brandon? Parallel. So this little caret, which is what it's called, this one's called a tick, this one's called a caret. So this single caret and this single caret indicate that the sides are parallel. So these two sides are congruent and they're parallel, right? And then the top and the bottom have double ticks and double carets. So the top and the bottom are congruent and parallel as well, okay? So if you flip back to page 7, I know it's a lot of going back and forth, it just is going to describe to us each of what the different symbols mean, okay? I have a bunch of different colored highlighters. You have different colors. It might be helpful, but if you just have one, that's fine, okay? So in orange, I highlighted the tick marks. So the left and right orange are your tick marks on this figure, which it happens to be what we call an isosceles trapezoid. You might find that on pages 8 and 9. Might already be done for you. Okay? Then we have this little symbol, which is called a caret. And on an isosceles trapezoid, this top and bottom side are parallel to each other. The third one down, I highlighted in green. These are called arc marks. So the two base angles have single arcs because they're congruent, and the top base angles have double arc marks because they're congruent. Okay? So angles are either going to be congruent Or they might be like the rectangle that we just looked at, and they might have a little small square or a small box, meaning they're right angles. They're 90 degrees. So angles should be either marked with arcs or small squares, or if they're nothing, then they're nothing. Okay? So when you're working your team on pages 8 and 9, you're going to write a definition for each, and then you're going to mark sides and angles using the symbols from this side. Your team can come up with their own definition, or you can use the World Wide Web, Google, and it'll give you a definition. If you click on images, you might even find an image that has some arcs and ticks and carrots already for you. Okay? At least one Chromebook per group. It's probably best if there's only one. Because if you have 4, then you're not really working as a group. You can't really talk about it. Okay?